Have you heard about Levi Coffin's bathtub? Because I have. And I wanted to find it. And that decision changed my life.
My name is Mark Dixon. I teach art and design at Guilford College.
My name is Basil Milligan. I also like to go by Fawn. I use he, she, it pronouns.
So I'm Dylan's academic advisor, and Dylan's taking a bunch of classes with me as well. Dylan showed up in my first year seminar class years ago as a newcomer to Guilford College. Yeah, the scavenger hunt in that Against Easy class was really just about getting oriented in the environment. If we're looking for things, then we're a little bit less in our minds and internal and a little bit more external. So that's what that was about. Yeah, there's a bathtub in the Guilford College woods, and I'm a denizen of the woods. I've been traipsing the woods for decades at this point, and so it's just one of the little tourist attractions in my mind map of the woods, and my internal nickname for it is Levi Coffin's bathtub. I have no reason to believe it actually was Levi Coffin's bathtub, but Coffin is kind of like he haunts the woods a little bit as a historical figure, and I know he literally moved around in these places that I move around, so I just called the bathtub his.
I know that you fuck around in the woods a lot, especially last year you fucked around in the woods so much. And I know there were quite a few situations last year where we hung out in the woods a lot. Like I remember coming out to the woods both in the fall and the spring, helping you film stuff for Mark Dixon's class. I remember over there you were the monster on the stilt, and me and Jam helped you film and stuff like that. And that was back when you still had the truck. Ugh. Then I remember in the spring, over spring break, when we hung out together, we hung out in the woods a few times. And I remember one point there, I helped you film the way that your wood shoes worked that you made for Mark Dixon's woodshop class.
Well, I appreciate you and a few other students, including Bree. One of the things I thought you were going to say is, while you were looking for the bathtub, because I think that you and Bree ran into each other in the woods, both on sort of extended quests for something, whether it was the bathtub or not. And I really appreciated that, because one of the things that's hard in a new space is to, form connections with people. And being in the woods is a little bit decentering, It's off the beaten path. It's out of a lot of the structures that compose our lives, and the fact that this scavenger hunt had caused two students to kind of collide in this liminal space of the woods was really cool for me.
Anywho, I remember the day before we all left last year for the end of the school year. I remember we all came out to the woods and we hung out, and it was great. And I remember walking around with you and just fucking vibing, man. Oh, I just remembered one of the things that we did over spring break last year, where we found this giant fucking stick, and I remember I had my woodcut tools and shit, and I just started like hacking at that thing, and I was hanging out with you, and we were just talking and shit, and it was great. It was great.
So I hear that you use the sort of MacGuffin of this Levi Coffin's bathtub as a kind of would-be destination, but you're taking sort of like a multi-layered journey there.
I described it as I started two journeys that day.
Yeah.
One for a bathtub that I have yet to complete, and one for myself, which will never be complete. I love how some small thing, like a bathtub, caused me to have a rapid realization of gender
Mm-hmm.
and me seeing a trans pin on your backpack had a
Led to
very
this.
similar effect. There was this moment back during last semester
Uh-huh.
where you started calling me ma'am.
Oh, yeah. I remember calling you ma'am.
Do you know how important that was?
Oh, good. If I remember correctly, it was mostly calling you ma'am as like a fucking gimmick. It was a little gimmick. Because I don't usually like use honorifics with my friends unless it's like a joke. Like, aye aye, Captain. Yes, ma'am.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Dylan. I remember asking you to write a story for my zine. And I remember you basically soft launching the they she pronouns at that point by signing off with the they she after with your stories.
I hate that I called it a soft launch. I think
You called it a soft launch.
I called it a soft launch.
You
as if
called
it
it
was,
a soft launch.
if it
Dylan.
was some sort of software that I was testing out.
Yeah, you called it a soft launch, if I remember
Ah.
correctly.
It was
I
a
remember
product
that
I
was in my
produce.
zine. It was in my zine for political print.
All developed in the Guilford College woods on the way to Levi Coffin's bathtub?
Yeah.
Got you. That's great. I've been thinking about this. Neil Gershenfeld has this conception of ready, aim, fire, which is sort of this command and control sequence where you're like, you determine, you get ready, you determine some sort of target that you want to reach, and then you take your shot at that target, and you basically measure your outcome based on how close you got to it. And then there's another conception that he characterizes as much more generative and much more a clever way to get moving is to do kind of a ready, fire, aim, where you make ready. You invest a lot. Say, I'm going to go for a walk in the woods for 2 hours, but then it's not so much about the degree to which you hit a predetermined thing, but you do the action and find out what you get. So you went out, nominally to get the bathtub, and you got something else. And if we're thinking about life on a ready, aim, fire level, then that was a failure. But if we think about it on a ready, fire, aim, then there's something emergent, and there's just much more capacity to account for just real experience, and to not make everything so dualistically like, yes, I did find the tub, no, I didn't. If those are the only two options, life ends up being very disappointing because you only find the tub, a number of times. But if you're going for the tub and you're appreciating where you land, then the world kind of unfolds.
You've seriously been so important to my time here at Guilford. I would not be the person I was today if it weren't for you, Dylan. I need you to know that.
We
We besties.
Yeah.
You're my sister.
Yeah. Exactly. That's how it works.
Like, you are the first person I've considered family. And I've told you that on numerous occasions. You are my sister.
Have I told you how important you were to my time here at Guilford?
I don't think you've ever explicitly told me no. I don't think you have explicitly told me how important I was.
I
I've
don't-
made
'cause-
some assumptions, but
Because not only were you my first friend, you are my best friend. And I say that,
I remember you
have I
used
told you
that
my
word
thing about best friends? I don't make best friends because it feels like I'm putting one above the rest. But I mean, unfortunately for everyone else here,
Oh my god, Dylan!
unfortunately for everyone else at Guilford,
Oh my god.
you were informative to my. I'm gonna hold
I
on.
was
I'm
formative.
gonna get up in. I'm getting over here with this. I'm just. You're important to me. You have massively changed my life in many ways, and I can't wait to see you after this.
In order for something to be a cardinal direction, you have to have a starting place, and I don't know if I assume any particular starting place. There's so many ways to enter the woods. So one thing that people ask me is it a literal bathtub? And the answer is yes, the literal bathtub. And is it visible? Like, say, you know, do you have to climb or dig or anything like that? No, you don't. It's if you're near enough to the bathtub to see it, and you are looking towards the bathtub, you will probably see a bathtub and recognize it as such.
I think that's a wonderful place to end this. You're homosexual.
Yeah, I know. I know I'm a homosexual, Dylan.